Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of ChakraBoosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos and CirclingSpace.com. I'd like to welcome you to this forecast. It's an astrological forecast for February 2022. So that's 2022. We have a few twos, and Tiffany Harlick is here to give us that forecast today. Thank you for joining us, Tiffany.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about February. I think it's going to be one of the best astrological months of the year. So I think you're in for a treat.
We got a sweet preview. If you guys haven't seen the full year forecast, I think it's worth watching. So I'll have the link below. I'll also have all sorts of links on how to contact Tiffany. She hails from Texas. She has a Russian lineage. That's a mouthful sometimes. In psychic work, right? Mediums are in your family and everything. So then you add the beautiful science of the astrology to it, and that is wonderful. Tiffany has a place you can meet her at called Wise Skies Collective.com. Go see her there. She's also the owner of Spellbound Publishing. If you like healthy cooking and you want to see what Tiffany can do in that area, she's a beekeeper and just all around good steward of Mother Earth, in my humble opinion. So thank you for joining us, Tiffany.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. You were talking about 2022, and it reminds me, even in a dream last night, it took place on 2222. And so lots of twos popping up, for consideration. And of course, February being a month when many of us are celebrating the month of love, and twos representing lots of partnership opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see that theme throughout. But if you wanted like an overall theme, like a big picture theme for February, I would say really it's really about the endless opportunities, the infinite out there. This is a time when you can take a chance. This is a time when you can roll the dice, put yourself out there. There's a lot of the energy of 8. So this is an 8-month and a 6-year, but it's the energy of abundance. It's the energy of taking a chance. It's a good time to roll the dice. And the astrology really lines up with these multiple windows of opportunity. So endless possibilities is kind of the big theme that I've been working with for people, because what that does is it just really opens your mind. It opens your mind to hope. It opens your mind to potential. And you don't have to have a plan to sort it out at every exact moment. You do want to be open to respond to life, and you want to understand, what's coming at you so that you know when a good opportunity comes by. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you're not planning to guide yourself the whole time, but what did they say? Luck is when opportunity meets something, or it's like it has to do with being ready for it, but you're not like trying to lead from that place of the planning or the readiness.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. It's
What
you don't.
And what I was seeing, I just wanted to share you when you were talking, I was seeing like these movies where they have like parallel realities and sliding doors. Like somehow that was coming up for me when you said endless possibilities. I was literally thinking about time being a little more mutable if we keep our mind really open or something. I don't know where that came from, but
No, that's great. I mean, we in one of my classes, I love to recommend the book by Russell Targ. It's called Limitless Mind, and it does talk a lot about that dual um, spaces, and so I think that's great that you picked that up. I think it's well worth looking at. Limitless Mind, if you're interested in that work. It's kind of like the wheel of fortune and tarot, if you think about it. It's
I
like
picked that. That was my card yesterday, the Wheel of Fortune.
oh, perfect. Okay, so if we start out with February, on February 1st, or January 31st, depending on what time zone you're in, but right at the peak of new February month, we get a brand new moon in 12 degrees of Aquarius. So if you have any planets in 12 degrees and fixed sign in your chart, you're going to feel this more passionately. But, if you think about Aquarius, we think about the collective, we think about the group, we think about the hive mind. Aquarius rules freedom and, of course, brilliance. I refer to Aquarius's ruler Uranus as the Einstein in the sky. So this new moon might give you some futuristic ideas, or ways to play with robotics, or ways to do the Legos in a certain way. You know what I mean? It's like this interesting Tetris that only can occur when a group of people get together. Of course, this can be virtually. But the idea with this new moon in Aquarius is, whose aura do you want to be in? Whose chakra space do you want to play in? And what can happen when you're in different groups of people, right? So there's a way to kind of balance. This is still a season of hermiting for a lot of us, where a lot of us are very private and isolated. And so how can we practice with being in aura with each other? What are our chakras communicating to each other? What are our channels communicating to each other that we would only come up together by being in a group? So right at the beginning of February, it's like, what network do you want to be involved in? What pool do you want to swim in? So what inspiration do you want to call your way? Now on this moon, Uranus, which is Aquarius's ruler, is going to square the moon. And so I feel like right from the get-go, we're going to be invited to get out of our comfort zone. So there's that zhuzhing of the energy going on.
Right away, I got moon, more emotions, more Cancerian, more, moon, very emotional, watery. And then you were saying Aquarian mind. So is there going to be some, what's the mind emotion dynamic here?
Well, right. So when the moon, or the emotional body, is in Aquarius, it's like, what like-minded people, how do you want to feel when you're in a group, right? And putting that back together, or creating space for that feeling in that group. I would think it would be a way you could work with those two.
I love it. So it doesn't sound like this is going to be a conflict, but rather it's inviting us into the feeling. What feeling do we want with the mind and like-minded people? It's not a conflict between mind and feeling here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I love that. That's nice. I just wanted to.
That Uranus square will encourage you to get out of your comfort zone. It's putting yourself out there with people that, aren't really part of your little tribe. So that's one idea of a way you could incorporate it, or that's at least what it looks like in my life.
And circling space for sure. I mean, for the last year and a half, 2 years, the whole time I've been developing it, it's been this energy, this Aquarian energy that's coming up, where we get to be more ourselves, and that brings out more of each other, not less. We're not trying to homogenize. We're trying to add.
About each other, right?
Yeah. Like, that's the whole, it's one of the principles actually, is curiosity. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So that's the first. On the 4th, Mercury will go direct in Capricorn. So finally, there will be a little relief from the electronics being hinky, from the messages not transmitting, from the travel backing up, from, all of the things that happen with the delays of Mercury retrograde. Now, some people are born with Mercury retrograde and aren't kind of nuanced by the Mercury retrograde. In fact, they're energized by it, and they get to go back over old things with new energy. So however that sits for you, Mercury will go direct in the sign of Capricorn, the wise elder, on February 4th. At the same time, Mars is going to sextile Jupiter, the sun's going to conjunct Saturn, and there's lots of big magic going on that day. And you think that might be my best day, but I've got an even better one for you coming. So, so on the 4th, it's like, wow, what a moment of opportunity to not only consider your long-term plans, but your practical magic. The sun conjunct Saturn. This is about hard work pays off, but there's so much other joy in the sky. I feel like you're just going to really fall in love with whatever it is that you've committed to. And the sun is that like feeling of vitality and health, that comes with routine. And Mars sextiling Jupiter in the background. So what could that look like, right? Like Saturday, I spent all day with my beekeeping mentors, and it was really cold here, which was highly unusual. But we were freezing, but we had so much fun that we were just there all day. And Mars sextile Jupiter, we just kept talking, and more opportunities and big ideas, and how can we help the most amount of people? And yet Saturn in this position next to the sun will provide that level of responsibility to help you play it out. So I feel like it's this really cool February 1st through 4th, something new is set in motion that feels very expansive and fun.
Yeah, as you're saying that, Tiffany, I'm getting this sense of, okay, the first we have the intentions. Then as we get toward the fourth, now all of a sudden we have both the commitment and steadiness as well as the fire, but the fire with Jupiter, with this spiritual energy that's helping too. So it sounds like it's all there
Yeah.
in that first part of the week, first part of the month.
This part of the month feels great.
Yeah.
I like don't even have any cloudy forecast icons to share.
It's like go for it and get like really set. What is it? What matters? Because you can make some action. You can make some steps in
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Yes. Mars is going to trine Uranus on the 8th, and we're going to get even more energy. So when Mars is behaving well, right?
What happens when Mars trines Uranus? Because Uranus is so known for its surprises and upheavals. What?
Right, exactly. So this is like a surprise, yes, a surprise green light.
Good, because it's trining, right? So we're looking at like how do they harmonize and
Exactly. How do they? For some people, it might look like there's that energy of wanting to work out, right? And then there's that Uranus where it's like, okay, well, how could we do that with robotics futuristically, interestingly? Maybe I'm going to get a Peloton or whatever you know what I mean?
or
Uh,
even as you said before, like a group. How can I do that with a different group than I've ever done that before? Maybe there's some little funny, like, something can be futuristic without being futuristic, like parkour when it was first being done. Like, I'm going to go out and run up walls and do silly things. So, yeah, that was really, as you said that, I was like, yeah, how can I do it differently? And or with other people of like-hearted, like-mindedness.
mhm.
Yeah.
Our cat, I think, majored in parkour. He's really good at bouncing
I
around.
think most of them have.
Right. So,
A
let's
lot
see.
of cool action, a lot of cool coming into February, like feeling what I really want, and then actually being able to act on it, and then actually being able to commit to it, and actually, it just feels really good.
It does. It feels like a lot of information flow that is understandable. It feels like things are in that process of unfolding.
Mhm.
Now, it's going to unfold over time, right? So, just because we have all the good ideas and we have the action steps, I'm not saying it's all going to be executed in February. I'm saying this is like a great moment for a fresh start to pivot something, to answer a new calling. At this point, the nodes will have just shifted. And so, we're all going to be
Oh,
kind of
right.
listening in a new direction, right?
Hmm.
So interesting time of the year for
Well,
sure.
isn't that a time you kind of tend to plant seeds anyway? You don't expect to plant them in the cool or cold of February and then have them pop up. You're looking for them in May and June and even July, depending on what the plants are and what they're growing. And yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the next exciting thing on our list for February is on the 11th, Mercury will conjunct Pluto. Now, they'll be in the sign of Capricorn, and this is really about deep thoughts. This is uncovering the hidden underbelly of all of the secrets. This is mental chemistry. This is when you're really attracted to somebody for the way that they think. When you can be magnetic. This is when you can find solutions. This is a good, if people like to do past life regressions, this would be an optimal time for things like that. It's really around digging around the skeletons in the closet. So if you have a company, this is a great time to engage your HR department, to do the background checks. If you are just in a obscure family situation, this is a great time to do the ancestry DNA testing and see who you might be related to. You know what I mean? So all of the secrets don't necessarily have to be bad or dark or so Plutonian, but I do feel like it's like discussing life's mysteries will be very interesting. So this might be on the light side. This might be when you binge watch a whole lot of Gaia episodes or go back through
The mystery of the sacred sites or the pyramids or like different. That sounds so cool.
right. And so that just the idea that hidden information is coming to the surface can be fun. Now guys, I just want to put it out there that I have definitely been astro shamed as being overly positive, and so I understand that there are like undertones that I'm not necessarily addressing, and that's okay. That's
Astro shamed. You're probably getting more astro shamed because of me, because I'm even worse. I'm like, I like to focus on what I want to be with the most, and I want to be with the most positive possible possibilities of each
totally.
outcome.
And I want to call in the best possible future too. So
Yeah.
we're like-minded like that. But I do want to acknowledge that it's not always comfortable when hidden information comes to the surface. And just because we might be, nerding out on our pyramid episodes, there might be some large data information that is
In our
leaked
world. In our
time.
world, right? Because you're talking that you have that Capricorn energy in there too, right? So power structures in our world, and
Government.
you could have some real stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's there for you to work with. Now, on February 14th, a lot of people celebrate Valentine's Day. There's going to be a better day to do it this year. So don't worry if you didn't make your perfect February 14th day plans. On that day, Mercury will re-enter Aquarius. So we're going back forward. We're forward.
We're going back forward.
We're sorry, we're forward. We're in forward motions at this point of the month.
Oh, got it. Okay. I was like, that's cool though. It does. Like,
Back to the future.
yes.
And then Mercury will stay in Aquarius through March 10th.
Okay.
So again, the Aquarian vibes, the inner rebel, the freedom seeker, the
Right.
fighting for a cause, the raising the vibe in your network, those types of things. If you think about the great Aquarians, you think of like Martin Luther King Jr., you think about Abraham Lincoln, you think about people that had a cause, that had a dream, that just by saying something changed a wave in, the fractals of the minds of the masses. And so, not being afraid to have your one-liner that changes so much, so that's on the 14th, and it'll ride through the rest of March. Now, February 16th, this is the day that you want to make your Valentine's Day plans. Venus is going to conjunct Mars in the sky. So Venus, the goddess of love, the sensual beauty, it feels like a very intimate pairing, right? With Mars, the masculine, the divine feminine. And also, there's a full moon in 27 degrees of Leo on that day. So there's a hot mix in the sky. We've got
the romantic, fiery one, yeah.
It feels like east meets west. It feels yin and yang. It feels like just a hot mix of emotions, right? This is the full moon in Leo. So if you think about the full moon as being a completion time, and you think about the full moon illuminating things, and you think about Leo being like, okay, well, what is it how could that work together? Well, I like to think of it as a great time to recognize how far you've come, to recognize your achievements, to give your inner child some ahas and some, wow, you've really come a long way. This is good work. The Leo full moon is very fiery. So you might find yourself very passionate about whatever you're doing. Where have those passions led you? And, who needs a little to take a bow, in other words, right? That part of you that
I love that. I think, Tiffany, sometimes in our world, I'm going to say just the really spiritually minded, good-hearted people so often don't stop to say, so if you're watching this, I hope you do take that opportunity, a little self-love, because love of both sides of yourself, masculine, feminine, are going to all be in there. And then take a moment for that Leo to say, I shine, because that's what Leos do. They shine. Like, how are you shining? Because you are. I just love that you're acknowledging that. Hey, Tiffany, is that the best day of the month or just the best Valentine's of the month?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, or do you want to wait? You can tell me it's not, and then we'll get to the date if you want to.
Well, it's kind of a sneaky date. So the best day of the month I'm going to suggest is the 17th.
Okay.
All right. So the 16th and the 17th, I'm only suggesting the 17th because on the 18th, Jupiter is going to sextile Uranus. And this is something that, Jupiter sextile Uranus is one of the biggest astrological events of the year. It's why I came up with our subtitle of this field of infinite possibilities, going all in, because Jupiter, expands, Uranus explodes. And I feel like it's positive, right? Like there's a sextile, this unfolding of organic energy that is just eye-opening. It's almost like you've been studying something for so long and all of a sudden you get it. It makes sense. You become the master. You can teach it. It feels like just a really huge refresh and a huge reset, huge understanding. So if you think about this falling on the heels of that Mercury-Pluto conjunction, it's like, okay, maybe we got some dirt out. Maybe we shook the carpet out and it was gross under there. Yeah. New from that. Like it was cool. and you can't unsee it, but it's good. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't want to go back to the way we were doing things.
Mhm.
So I don't know what inventions might be coming up or bubbling up. I don't know what interesting resources you might be getting access to, right? Jupiter giving you access to resources, Uranus giving you access to curious resources. So if you're feeling stuck, really, I just encourage everybody to think way outside the box,
Mm.
because this is not a month to be boxed in at all. So I think the 17th is going to be our best day. The 18th, not only will we have that major astrological change, the sun will also enter Pisces. So there's a softening and there's a blessing. And that's why I'm saying I think it's going to feel good. I think we're going to be pleased with the way that that we're understanding our world and ourselves at that point. So again, in the background, some of the uncomfortable things going on in the skies is that the United States will be facing the first of 3 exact moments when we will be having our Pluto return. You know, the Pluto return is something that only happens every 248 to 250 years. So it's not like a person doesn't get that, but countries do. And so there are many great astrologers that have studied this. It is not my expertise. But what I can tell you is that there's often a lot of upheaval. There's often a lot of indecision, and it's almost like if we can just keep that Aquarian energy of that new moon and just stay curious. Like, I wonder what that means. I wonder how it could get better and better. You know, I wonder how this could line up in an interesting way. I wonder how we can live and let live so that everybody has a sense of freedom without hurting each other, right? So there is that sketchy thing going on for the United States. The United States, when we had our half Pluto return, was in the 1930s, and it was marked by the Dust Bowl. So it's very possible we could start to see some of those systems breaking down. I don't think we're going to see them, systems meaning the food systems, the food supplies, stuff like this. I don't think we're going to see that until later in the year. So I'm not scared about it for us ever, because I have hope, motivation, but I am wanting to bring that up so that if anybody hears about it and, you know, just it's there, it's in the background.
It
And
just got underlined with a little ding ding on the. I always like to notice those and stuff. So I'm glad that you are bringing it up. What's the date on that one of the first date of actual return?
the 20th, February 20th.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear. You probably said that, but I wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, after that, on the 23rd, Mars is going to sextile Neptune. And so another golden moment to get creative, to go for it. I feel like February is really setting up artists very well if they want to launch something in April. Mars, again, that fuel in the tank, that gas, that primal energy. And then Neptune, that beautiful artistic, creative yoga teacher in the sky, right? So, so how are they working together and really blending? I feel like the twos in that relationship, sense of things, I feel like there's lots of opportunities where the masculine and the feminine energies connect over and over throughout the course of February. And this is one of those keynotes. Neptune has dreams. Neptune's a dreamer. Mars says, go for it. Reach for your dreams. You know, this is your precious human life. Where do you want to spend it? You know, what do you want to do with it? What legacies are we creating? On the 24th, Mercury is going to sextile Chiron and Venus will sextile Neptune. This is very soft energy, but it's like talk therapy. Like you need to talk it out. So scheduling, you know, long afternoons when you can talk with a friend, or just doing something to where you can deep dive and express is kind of the keynote there. So sometimes I don't plan for that, right? Sometimes you're on the other end of somebody who has planned for it and you pick up the phone and you're there for somebody. So whether you're in the receiving or the talking side of things, Mercury needs to communicate a whole lot. Chiron needs to heal something, and Venus and Neptune need to do it in a really beautiful, kind, calm, heart to heart. So, you know, if things are tough, this is the moment for you to have that heart to heart where it is a win-win, where there are solutions. And if you experience the Mercury Pluto thing, and it was like, ooh, these crazy secrets popped up. This is the moment where it feels softer and like it's healing and like it's going to be okay. And if, you know, you're feeling really protected and held and taken care of. Now I finally have what I would consider difficult news.
We're getting toward the worst day of the month.
Yes.
Make it my birthday, Tiffany.
Oh no! I hope, is it the 25th? Because that's when I've got March.
27th is my birthday, so maybe I can get it behind me by the time.
All right, so it'll be behind you. So you're going to have a happy birthday, but the 25th is when Mercury is going to square Uranus, and that to me feels very disruptive. It feels like just a pain in the neck. It's not the best time to be working with electronics, wires. It's when just, you know, accidents happen, right? It's when it's almost like
It's happened. The way you say that is so funny. I don't know why.
well, I mean, and I'm accident prone, right? Like I'm
We talked about this, and absolutely. Maybe that's why I laugh when you say it, because I think of both of us and like, yeah, they happen.
right. You know, it's like you trip, you have, like, you swallow water the wrong way right when you're about to say something brilliant. Like there's all things, you know. So I'm just suggesting, like, okay, maybe would it be helpful to replace caffeine with water today? Would it be helpful? Is there something you could do to move slower through the universe? And just being aware of your tools. So whenever the fiascos or the challenges of life show up for us, what are our tools? Do you have some level of emergency preparedness? Like right now, do you know where your breakers are? I mean, you know, do you? Do you are they inside? Are they outside? Do you know how to flip them around? Or you know, like there's all kinds of emergency preparedness that I don't know.
First aid kit, your jumper cables,
Right,
you're
stuff like
having
that.
extra
Exactly.
food around. Do you have extra water? Do you?
That kind of stuff, yeah. And it's not necessarily that we're all going to experience a catastrophe on the same exact time. So you might see this in the media somewhere, but also just general safety precautions. Having your like, I'm a beekeeper, so having some Benadryl in my car when I go out to the apiary is going to be wise, especially on that day. So those are the kind of safety precautions I'm talking about, right? Like just being really aware of what you do, how it could go wrong, and where you can have the right band-aid, so to speak, in place, you know.
Okay. And see, and you're being cautionary, so you're not just being the Pollyanna-ish one here.
Right. So that, I feel like, is if I have to pick a worst day,
Mm.
it would be the 25th.
And even that one, you're saying it's not, it's just be a little cautious. You're saying this is a good month overall. This is a really good month. And you're saying it sounds like it's also from the year long that people can look at, it's also preparing for the good month of April as well, too.
I think so, especially if you're in the creative cycle, if you're writing something, if you're an artist, if you're painting something, if you're if you're creative in the kitchen, if you're creative in the garden, wherever you have that element, you know, if you're a creative because you're teaching new yoga classes, wherever you get to be, even if you're in spreadsheets, right? And you're
Right. Wherever your creativity, where you're even problem solving is so creative when you do that. So how are you coming up with whole new solutions and whole new ways to
whole
do?
new ways of thinking, whole new resources, and just different people to connect with that want to see you shine, you know, so that especially on that Leo full moon, you can feel a sense of appreciation for yourself,
Great.
right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
So I know that was a little bit flowy, but that's how the month looks, right? And I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah,
So
I love it. Sounds really, really good.
yeah.
So you spoke about the numerology being the twos and stuff, right? So we definitely have covered the numerology. Are we going to take some cards here and see what the
Yes.
tarot is for the first and second half of the month?
Yes, and just to clarify, that there are a lot of twos in February, and I do feel like we're going to see that. But I also feel, I mean, it is an 8 month. It's an 8 universal month in
Hmm.
a 6 year, and
Hmm.
so 8 is what gives us that added energy of going for it, going big.
I went like this in my mind. The minute you said it is an 8 month, I went like that. I don't know why, but just boom, like eight.
Right? Exactly. It's putting your money where your mouth is. It's rolling the dice. It's taking a chance. If you think about the 8 being sideways, it's the infinity symbol, right?
Mhm.
And so it feels like high highs and low lows. And so we're all looking for emotional clarity. That 8 is going to take you on a ride, but it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a good one. So wherever you feel all in, this is the month to really go for it. All right, so let's clear the deck. You want to look at the first half of the month, just
Yeah, look at the first half because this is our shorter month, right?
for everyone watching Vicki's channel, and clear and see what it is that we need to look at for the first half of the month of February. All right, we get the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, so to me, the 6 of Pentacles is about reciprocity. It is about generosity. It's a card of course, in this deck, it looks like great wisdom. I would pull in some ancestry relationships into this. But not only what do you want to do with your life, but where do you want to give big, right? Where do you want to have this idea of reciprocity, of in and out, of back and forth, of giving and taking. And so this would be for the first half of the month.
Okay.
Let's look at the second.
And you have, and there's that real world aspect. I mean, the Pentacles is like the root chakra in Tarot. And so, and you kept bringing up like the realness of it, the taking action, and so that's what I love about it, because for me, the 6s have kind of that third eye balance of coming to the third eye. But at the same time, this is a 6 of Pentacles. So it sounds just like what you were saying, is we've got the spirituality of the 6, the balance of the third eye, of everything meeting and joining, even the masculine, feminine that's going to join on the 17th. But then we're applying it. We're really applying it. This is earth energy. This is Pentacles,
And I like how you reminded me of that too, because the nodes will have shifted too, right? The North node will have been in Taurus, in that Stevie Nicks earth energy, earth mom.
Yes.
All right. Let's take a look at the second half of the month. Let's just clear the deck for everyone interested in a little extra insight, some clarity or guidance, something that is kind of universal knowledge for us for the second half of February.
It's also funny, I just want to say one more thing, is 6 is dreams, right? Dreams and third eye. And I always carry all those numbers over into chakras. So it's your third eye and 6. And like, again, you said, like, it's like anything's possible, your dreams, as long as you do the Pentacles, which means as long as you're being real, as long as you're working with it in a very real root chakra world kind of way. So It actually feels perfect.
Thank you. I love that interpretation too. All right, so for the second half, we get the Empress. And the
Empress for my birthday. My birthday falls in that second half. I love that you pulled the Empress.
Right, and to me, this is the ultimate creative card. This is the ultimate blending, union of yin and yang. This is the ultimate time for fertility, right? In all areas. What do you like about the Empress?
The Empress always brings up like instead of like the Queen of Pentacles, or what's the other one? I'm trying to think of the other major arcana that I get sometimes, but the Empress is more the mystical for me. She has a little bit of more of the mystical aspect, but she's very much sitting in the real world, just like that other card that we saw. They're very similar. This is just like the exclamation mark for me on top of the 6, because the 6 to me is saying third eye, Empress energy, the highest feminine. The third eye is the highest feminine. And it's saying, make that apply in the real world. And this one is saying, and when you do, the Empress arrives.
It's almost like if you dream it, you can make it.
Exactly. I got chills in my legs, as you said. So that's what it feels like. It feels like a very feminine, but yet can do, very wise, very full-bodied feminine month.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it.
And if that's Pollyannish, okay, leave the comments and you can blame it on me. Okay.
Isn't that funny? I was like, you can start an astrology channel if you have some other advice, right? Right. This is just the way I see it. This is through my lens, through my eyes. I study evolutionary astrology. I study Western astrology. And as we look at it, we affect it, right? As we look at it, it changes the outcome. As we talk about it, it changes what is. And so I'm so glad for the discussion, and hearing your take on all of this stuff too gives me fresh eyes and energy. Like I said, I've just been excited about February ever since I looked at the forecast. So I feel like good things are coming. And if we're hearing some hard truths, I feel like it's going to be okay, that we're going to be grateful that we heard the truth. You know, it's almost like I have a master's in health psychology and counseling. And so it's almost like people that grew up in homes of in abusive homes, or homes where parents were alcoholic or not present, and they never knew where the bar was. And so they were always kind of trying to overachieve, but couldn't quite get that approval or that, like, and so they're just always in that mystery state. Well, finally, once you rip the top off of that and you can see what it is, then you can settle into your bones and know where the bars are, and know where you stand and what's actually happening here. So
It feels like spiritual maturity for me this month. It feels like the revelations can very easily lead into the Empress, can lead into spiritual maturity, which isn't always the case, right? When this information comes out. But this month in particular, I got that same sort of, and then you talked about the softness of it as well too. It does feel like it's going to be softened, it's going to be integrated, it's going to be used.
one more thing about the Empress that on the second half of the month that's coming to mind is like that 16th. That's when Mars meets Venus. That's when the moon is full. That's when there is a sensuality and intimacy, and so having that Empress card there, giving new life to something, can be very metaphysical and very physical and very spiritual. So a time of union, within yourself or with other.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about it. Thank you for sharing, Tiffany. I want to invite everyone. Remember, there'll be some links down there to meet Tiffany, many different places, but especially a link for her calendar as well. If you want to get like these dates and these aspects right on your own phone or computer, you can grab her digital calendar. And I'd love to see you join me or some of my facilitators over at circlingspace.com, because it's just getting riper and riper to come. Can you say riper? It's getting more and more ripe. to come and be a part of it. It's an Aquarian field that we're creating, a field of safety, and where we can all grow together, and where we actually add to each other's expansion through our own individuality, not by trying to homogenize, so, and curiosity. So thank you guys. And Tiffany, I'll see you on the March report.
Okay, I'll be ready.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Much love, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.